Grab a cup of coffee and start your Sunday with Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life features stories to inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Every Sunday morning at 9 on the Talk of New York, AM 970, The Apple. Visit cyacyl.com.
Hi, this is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Our guest today is fitness expert Bob Greene, the founder of the Best Life Diet Plan. Bob is known for being Oprah's personal trainer. His bestsellers, The Best Life Diet, Total Body Makeover, and Get With the Program have sold nearly 10 million copies. Bob is the author of the new book, 20 Years Younger. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on today.
Thanks for joining us. Bob, the words on the cover of your book, look younger, feel younger, be younger. As a woman in her 40s who is in her 20s mentally, but ready for retirement on a physical level, I am loving this book. When you say 20 years younger, you're not just talking about looking 20 years younger. You say that it's possible for us to get our bodies to function like we're 20 years younger. How is that possible?
Well, I'm glad you worded it that way because that's the key. Your looks can reflect how you're feeling and how you're functioning, but it's that function. I look at myself, I'm in mid-50s, and I can honestly say that in many areas I'm stronger than I was in my 20s, and I was active in my 20s. It takes hard work, it takes a commitment, but it can be done, and you just translate that into improved quality of life, and most likely quantity of life as well. It can be done. I spent 10 years researching this book, speaking to anti-aging experts all over the world, and employed 3 co-authors, Diane McKay for her work in supplements. She's with Tufts University, PhD. Dr. Harold Lancer, Beverly Hills dermatologist, who I interviewed for myself. I have that skin that wrinkles really easily, sun damages, and I didn't care for it that well up until I hit mid-40s. And Dr. Ron Kotler, who runs the Penn Sleep Centers, Pennsylvania, as an expert in sleep. And we really look at the bona fide things we know you can do to kind of beat the clock and shave years off of not only your looks, how you feel, but more important, have your body function like it's 20 years younger.
And Bob, there's something just to back up for a moment. You just mentioned that you're in your mid-50s, and in the beginning of your book, you share a story about not too long ago taking a bike trip cross-country. I mean, when I read that, I don't even want to drive cross-country. So what motivated you to do that, and what did you feel and learn along that journey?
Well, I did it as a book tour, and if you've done a book tour, it's one of the most stressful things. I actually thought that would be easier. I don't have to run to airports. I exercise a lot every day anyhow, so I'm getting on a bike and riding, getting off the bike and signing books and speaking. I thought it was great, and it was something I always wanted to do. What I didn't count on, obviously I knew I would be fitter when I got off that bike in New York after starting in Long Beach, California. But I hadn't anticipated the clarity of thought and the emotional clarity that I got. Everything became so much clearer, and I started to sleep better. My skin looked better. I started to feel so strong, surpassing where I was in my 20s, and I had done it when I was past the age of 40. So I started thinking about anti-aging. Obviously, I studied it in school, but I really wanted to come up with a plan where the person that couldn't get on a bike and devote 5 weeks crossing the country could still benefit from what I learned. And so then I just started my way interviewing experts, and the idea for 20 years younger was germinated on that bike trip.
Now, Bob, your program that you describe in the book is built around 4 pillars: exercise, nutrition, skincare, and sleep. And we're going to get into each of those areas in detail. But what I'd like to ask you at the beginning of this, for those of us in midlife that have done so much damage to ourselves, is it too late for us to reverse what we've done and make these lifestyle changes?
No, it's never too late. And the irony about it all is that take exercise, for example, as well as all the pillars. There's a natural protection to many diseases and a lot of the processes that wear on us from an aging standpoint when you're in your 20s and 30s. But in your 40s, the rules change, and in your 40s is when you benefit to such a greater extent employing these strategies. So now is the time, if you're even in mid-30s up to 60, even 70, if you employ these things, you'll benefit even more so than somebody younger than you.
So, Bob, let's talk a little bit about some of the effects of aging on our body. And in the book, you discuss some aging accelerators. So can you tell us a little bit about what happens to us on a physical level as we age, and what are some of the things that are causing this process to accelerate?
Well, let's just look at the different pillars. The first one, exercise. We know you accelerate aging much more than we ever thought by just being inactive, and most of us are inactive. Whether it's because of computers or automation, even in the kitchen. We used to get more exercise running a household than we did in the past. We were meant to move, and when we don't, we expose ourselves to just every known disease. When you talk about nutrition, we know that there are certain foods that have these nutrients that help us age, and by the same token, there are compounds that most of us eat that accelerate aging: trans fat, saturated fat, sodium. Also how we prepare food. High heat, meat cooked at high heat has these compounds, ironically called AGEs, that age us, and very detrimental. When it comes to skin care, it's mostly about the oxidizing of your skin as well as the tissues of your body. And with simple removing the dead layer of skin that Dr. Lancer talks about in his chapter every day, and then washing it away, and then putting in a nourisher, not just a moisturizer, something that triggers oxygen content to the skin as well as new cell growth, you can have great strides in how your skin looks, feels, and reacts. It becomes younger physiologically. And finally, sleep. Boy, if there's an underrated pillar, it's sleep. It accelerates aging in all the areas. If you're not sleep, really hard to exercise. We know that if you don't get enough sleep, your nutrition habits go downhill. We know that. Sleep and skin, intimately tied. Sleep, and it's, if you get enough of it, you lower your risk of most diseases. If you're not, you increase the risk of every known disease virtually. So we know these pillars, when addressed, if anyone saw the Oprah show that I did, those women went on this program for 2 months. A couple of them one of them lowered their cholesterol 100 points in 2 months. Many of them came off medications they were on since they were adults. That's the power of addressing these 4 pillars.
Bob, what does the 20-year diet look like, the 20-year younger diet look like, and what are some of the superfoods that you say we need to incorporate into our diet?
Well, I go into this in the book, and I have recipes, and I even have more recipes and meal plans at 20yearsyounger.com. But in general, take off the foods that are empty and accelerate aging, namely, let's say, sugary beverages, the number one source of empty calories. Refined grains, in particular white bread and white rice, come off the table. And you slide in good nutritious foods like whole grains and superfoods. The superfoods, fatty fish, really important. In addition, legumes. We should be consuming beans or lentils 2 or 3 times a week. You should consume more, obviously whole grains is a factor. Healthy fats as opposed to the bad fats, and most of us know what those are, but olive oil, canola oil, healthy spreads. I have a Best Life spread. We took out the trans fat. Now other manufacturers are realizing there's no need to have trans fat. It is one of the things that ages us, no question about it. Also, put in herbs and spices can be superfoods. Not only do they make a blander diet more exciting, they have properties that help us age, so throw these in. Fruits, there are citrus and berries that we know help with the aging process and add phytonutrients that fight disease as well. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, kale, cauliflower, these are all things, mustard greens, help us, in fact, half of your plate should be made up of vegetables. They help us age, and not only that, add good fiber. They help us function on another level. So really nutrition. The last thing I'll mention is that supplements, very important. I started Best Life Vitamins for a reason. I interviewed one of the co-authors years ago, Diane McKay, PhD from Tufts. What's wrong with our current source of vitamins? In many cases, they're deficient in certain things, and they add too much, like folic acid. The only reason most multivitamins put way too much folic acid in there is because they're targeting women that want to have children. And so that we're all, if you're not interested, if you're a male or you're a female and you don't have a desire to have children, you're putting yourself at risk for certain cancers, what we're finding out, by using too much folic acid. So I started Best Life Vitamins out of an interview with Diane and her research. And I came up with these vitamins. I think everyone should take a really good multi that has low amounts of folic acid as well as vitamin A and some other vitamins. Everyone should be taking at least one omega-3 supplement, and also everyone should take at least one calcium/vitamin D, and most people past the age of 40 and for sure over 50 should be taking 2 of those supplements split up in their day.
Bob, I was going to ask you, as a trainer and a motivator, you know, someone's attitude is very important in the way they approach their healthy living lifestyle. And do you think that it's important for us to get rid of this word diet from our vocabulary? We all seem to be going on a diet, off a diet. And it sounds to me that what you're prescribing is that we just incorporate an entirely healthy way of eating and living and looking at food and just get rid of that negative connotation of the word diet.
Get rid of the word diet because it's come to mean a temporary way of eating, and that what goes along with that is a temporary showing of results.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you do, you should do it for a lifetime, without question. Get off that diet mentality, or keep the word diet and have it mean simply the foods you eat. I'm fine with either way, but it really is about the lifestyle that leads to a vibrant, high-quality life.
Bob, are there foods that we think are good for us but actually can make us gain weight and accelerate this negative process in our body?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, most people know the foods that are empty calories, the sugary beverages, the number one, the refined grains. I think it's more the foods that got a bad rap, like eggs. Eggs, very healthy protein. Potatoes, good food. Another level, a superfood, is a sweet potato. Mm-hmm. Many people think, oh, that's going to accelerate my weight gain. No, it's a nutritious, rich food that should be incorporated in everyone's diet. When we looked at 2 populations in particular that have the most amount of people over the ages of 100 as well as over the ages of 80, it's people that are dotting the Mediterranean and also the Okinawan people. And what we find is that they either have olive oil in the case of the Mediterranean region, and they get high-quality omega-3s and have a good ratio of omega-3s to omega-6s. They also tend to be active people, not relying on the car like most Americans do, and lower the salt and have these superfoods as part of their normal diet, like sweet potatoes, berries, citrus, healthy oils. We know that translates into not only living longer, but living a higher quality life.
Bob, we're going to take a break for our sponsors. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life now has a monthly free digital magazine that can be mailed to your inbox or read online at cyacyl.com. Each month, nationally recognized leaders in their fields, such as Joel Osteen, Shaun T., Tanya Brown, Ed and Deb Shapiro, Food Network's Robert Irvine, plus many others, provide the tools that you need to inspire and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. As philosopher Francis Bacon said, knowledge is power. Take the wisdom provided in the publication and apply it to your everyday life. Visit cyacyl.com for more information or to begin your free subscription. That's cyacyl.com. Welcome back to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman, and our guest today is fitness expert Bob Greene. Bob is the founder of the Best Life Diet Plan. He's known for being Oprah's personal trainer, and his bestsellers, The Best Life Diet, Total Body Makeover, and Get With the Program have sold nearly 10 million copies. Bob is the author of the new book, 20 Years Younger. Bob, before break, we were talking about the importance of diet in our aging process. And what I'd like to talk about now are some of the other pillars that you describe in your book. And you mentioned briefly before about the importance of sleep. How much sleep would you say we need per night? And why, is that so important to the aging process?
Well, there are a couple individual differences, people, but in general, you want to get 7 to 9 hours. And if you're not getting that, you're sacrificing that good quality stage 3 sleep, which I cover in 20 Years Younger and on 20yearsyounger.com. That stage 3 sleep is where your body repairs itself, and that includes your immune system. Extremely important. And many of us are doing things like having too much light in the room, that you're still sleeping, or the television, or a dog barking, things that kind of prevent us going into that quality stage 3 sleep. Having a great mattress. In fact, a couple years ago I bought a Tempur-Pedic, and I actually called them just thanking them for changing the way I sleep, and they became a sponsor for the 20 Years Younger tour, and thrilled with that. And it started me thinking years ago, what are simple things you can do? Get a great mattress, get a great pillow, also block out light. I got blackout shades. My sleep was always pretty good, but it got better even at a later stage of my life. When it's more challenging, we start to lose that ability to sleep soundly as we age. So protecting it is really important.
Bob, I'd like to touch upon skincare now. You say in your book that there are some common skincare mistakes that can add years to our lives. What are some of these things that we're doing wrong?
Well, females leave their makeup on. Those are toxins, and you're blocking the breathing of the skin and the oxygenation of the skin, and in some ways the rejuvenation and new cell growth. So going to sleep with your makeup, don't think it's all just a few more hours. Take that makeup off. Most important, Dr. Lancer, changed my skin. I got rid of sun damage just by using his system and his products for 2 months. So the first thing is every morning, just wash your face and put on a nourisher, not just a moisturizer, but something that triggers oxygen within the skin as well as new cell growth. Then at night, then put on a sunscreen, obviously, in the daytime, something I wasn't good at most of my life, and I'm paying the price.
Mm-hmm.
At night, polish your skin. Another way to say that is buff it and take off the dead layer of skin. And that is going to accelerate the formation of new cells, which is really important. You increase cell turnover. Then wash it away because there's the dead skin and the debris. Then, again, apply that same nourisher into the skin that triggers the new cell growth. Go to sleep, get a good night's sleep, and that's all you need unless there's a condition that's along, either the condition is deep lines where you want something a little bit more, and we cover what your options are in the book, or rosacea, very common, I think affecting 20 million people in this country. These are things that you can add onto that basic skincare regimen. And the irony is most of us are doing 2 out of the 3 steps by washing our face and moisturizing. Just adding that polishing to the system will make a big difference.
Bob, how important is it for us to stay hydrated, and how much water should we be drinking every day?
Well, it's very dependent on where you live, heat, etc. The old rule of thumb that at least 6 8-ounce glasses a day is a pretty good rule of thumb. But if you're more active or you live in a high heat or high humidity area, you need to add to that. And if you're really active, like the 3rd level of 20 Years Younger, you really are going to need more, like 8 to 10 glasses a day. And again, you can use sparkling water as part of that, but I recommend your top choice is just good old-fashioned flat water.
Bob, we touched a little bit upon exercise. And in addition to exercise, what types of activities can keep us young and stimulated?
The important thing on fitness, many people kind of know that cardiovascular fitness is really important and the strength training is really important. But what they don't realize is that we lose flexibility as we age, we lose balance, we lose agility, and we lose hand-eye coordination. So testing those by playing tennis or badminton or throwing darts or just general sports of pedaling a bicycle, test those abilities and maintain them throughout our life. So it's really important to do lifetime sports as well as train your balance as well as your agility.
And you also say that it's important to remain socially active as we age. Why is that important?
Well, we just know from studies that two things tease out. When you look at people above 80 and another subgroup, those that live over 100 and are vibrant, two things are very noteworthy, and they live active lives, very active physically, and they're very active socially. And so we do know that friends and interactions affect our mood, affect our stress level, and also affect how we view the aging process. Very important to have vibrant friendships.
And as we like to say here, it's very important to have a good attitude.
It's really another way to say it. Attitude not only about yourself and your friendships and your relationships, but an attitude about aging. And that's a key factor that I talk about. It's not a pillar, but in the back of the book, the last chapter talks about how important it is to view aging as something positive as opposed to, oh, woe is me, I'm aging, I'm getting older, I can't do what I used to do. It's a time when if you took care of yourself and continue to take care of yourself, it could be the time of your life. You've gained wisdom. You should have great friendships. You really iron out who you are and what you want out of life. So it really should be this positive experience, and we can make it that.
The book is 20 Years Younger by Bob Greene. If you'd like more information, you can visit the website 20yearsyounger.com. Or as always, you can visit our website, cyacyl.com, which stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on our site, read our digital magazine, listen to past shows as podcasts, and sign up for our mailing list. Again, 20 Years Younger by Bob Greene. It's packed with important information based on Bob's 4 pillars of diet, exercise, skincare, and sleep. In the book, Bob maps out a plan of action to help you look younger, feel younger, and be younger. Bob, thank you so much for being here. I've really enjoyed the time that we've been able to spend together, and you have given us so much food for thought. There's so much that we can take from your work and from the book to incorporate in our lives, so thank you for that.
Thanks so much for having me on today.
And Bob, I'll let you know how I do as I work my way back into my 30s and then my 20s.
Excellent.
This is Joan Herman, and this is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Thanks for tuning in.